Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about long distance bike commuting while I ride my bike to work. For those of you who are new to the channel, my name's Cruz. I live and work here in Japan, and I make a bunch of videos on this channel about cycling in Japan. So if you're interested, first things first, subscribe. And if you're coming back, please like the video. It really helps the channel. Anyway, let's get on to today's topic. So as many of you guys know, I recently changed jobs here in Japan, and my new job is about 20 kilometers away from where I live. So that means I have a 40 kilometer round trip commute that I've been doing every day. So I started training for my new job in the winter. I started riding here in December or so, and it's about May now, so it's starting to get a bit warmer. Today is a little bit crazy weather. It's really windy, it's really strong, and it was raining all day yesterday, so I'm sure there's going to be some puddles along the paths. And that's firstly one of the things I noticed about doing this long commute is you just have to be mentally prepared and physically prepared for everything that awaits you. But honestly, I'm way happier to be riding my bike than to be stuck in traffic like all these cars. But yeah, you face a bunch of different weather conditions. In the winter, it was freezing, especially the time I leave for work. It is the coldest time of the day, about 6 a.m. So 5 a.m. it's actually a little bit warmer, and then 6 a.m. is the coldest. So it was really tough in the winter, mentally having to get up, face the cold every day. And now it's starting to get a little bit nicer, minus the wind and rain and stuff like that. But anyway, I've noticed there's a big toll that commuting takes on your body and your mental health. And I wanted to talk about that in my first impressions in today's video. Also, today will be my first video shot in 4K on my GoPro, so thumbs up if you like the quality, if the 4K quality is any good. But anyway, I'm no stranger to cycling. I'm no stranger to commuting by bike. My last 4 years of working here in Japan, I've always commuted by bike. Oh, those are nice. But my commute was always really short. My last job, my commute was only about maybe 2 kilometers one way, so about 8 minutes. It was really short, not even 10 minutes. I'd get there and I wouldn't even be out of breath. I would feel kind of like teased, like it was just kind of a warm-up, and I was always wishing for a longer commute so I could actually have a nice bike ride before and after work. On one hand, it was really nice because I could sleep into the last possible minute, and after work I could ride home, get home right away, and eat some delicious food right away after a long, hard day. So I do kind of miss that. And also, I've been racing and cycling on and off for over the last 10 years. I raced at a pretty high level for a long time, so I'm used to putting in the long 300, 400, even the sometimes 500 kilometer week of training. And that's pretty comparable to my current commuting schedule. So about 40 kilometers a day, which leads to about 200 kilometers a week, which leads to about 800 kilometers for the month. And that's not a crazy distance or anything like that, but it does begin to take its toll on you when you're doing it every day. For the last few years, I've mostly been cycling just kind of like when I feel like it. So if I was really tired, I just take a rest day, and my 8-minute commute didn't really take any effect on me, so I didn't really count it as a cycling day. But 40 kilometers, 20K each way is definitely a distance that can take its toll on you, no matter how easily you take the ride. Like today, I'm sprinting pretty easily, but there's a nasty wind. And you got all the accelerations to deal with, and it just accumulates with all of your total distance. So it gradually builds up and wears on you. So first, I'll start with some negative points, I guess. Some negative points I've noticed in doing this long commute every day. There's a bunch of positive points as well, so stick around and I'll talk about those next. So the first negative point I noticed is I get really tired sometimes and I lose motivation to do regular rides, which is kind of a bummer because I'm a cyclist. I live in Japan, one of the greatest countries for road bike cycling, and there's a bunch of mountains nearby where I live. And I used to go do these long rides every weekend, but now I found myself like at the end of the work week, when Friday's finished and I ride home, I'm pretty cooked and I don't really have much energy to go out for a long 100K plus ride the next day. So part of that is my work is a lot more intensive and busy compared to what it was before. Before I was just teaching English, and now I'm working for a bicycle distributor company and moving boxes, working on import stuff, inventory stuff, and just sort of anything really. Oh, there's a cat. So it's a lot busier with work, a bit more stressful, and the working time's a bit longer. On top of the longer commute, I'm overall just a lot tired. So this may not be entirely just the fault of the commute. Honestly, last weekend, I was so tired, I just didn't ride at all on the weekend, which was kind of nice because I got to catch up on some video editing. In case you guys don't know, being a YouTuber and editing videos takes a lot of time. And doing that on top of work and a regular training schedule, commuting schedule, is sometimes a bit much. Another sort of negative point, half negative, half positive, is I'm hungry all the time. This was true before when I was cycling regularly, but I think it's even intensified even more lately. And every day I'm just constantly eating. I'll eat breakfast before I go for my ride. When I arrive at the company, I'll eat another big snack. I'm really into these like protein cookies lately. I've posted them on the channel a little bit. I'll post a picture here. They're really good. I think they got like 16 grams of protein and not too high count of sugar. And I'll eat some chocolate. On top of that, some extra crackers and peanut butter, banana sandwiches, and then lunch. And yeah, I'm just constantly always eating and get this feeling that everyone's just sort of staring at me like, that guy's still eating. Wow, that wind's really strong. And all you guys in the comments are like, this dude's so skinny, he even drinks whey protein and he's still that skinny. And yeah, but I eat a lot. One of the busier crossings today. If you can see over there, these cars are all lined back. All the roads in Japan are like single file. So the morning commute just sucks because there's traffic lights every few hundred meters and you get stuck. So actually, I don't think I've really talked on the channel about this yet, but I recently bought a car, and I'll talk about that in a separate video, why I bought the car and stuff like that. It's mainly to move my bike around and in case of emergencies and stuff like that. I rarely use it. I think I've only used it twice in the few weeks I've had it so far. But yeah, I commuted to work once already with the car when I needed to transport a bike, and I absolutely hated it. This commute normally takes me about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how quickly I'm going. And going by car took an hour and a half. So I'm just like, never again. Commuting by bike. So might as well go into the good points now is you save money and it's healthier. You get a workout. And I found that riding before work just kind of puts me in a good mood. Like, I haven't found myself negatively looking towards my commute yet. I'm sure eventually I'll just be like, oh, I have to do this 20K commute again. Man, this wind is crazy. But I haven't gotten to that point yet, thankfully. Yeah, the other good thing is, I mean, at work, sometimes I'm just sitting in a chair for so long, I barely move. So it's kind of nice to ride as well after work. So you get a little bit of exercise in before work, you get a little bit of exercise in after work. And even on an easy day like today where I'm just spinning, it's good to spin the legs, you get some blood flowing, and overall just, yeah, puts me in a positive mood. It's a good way to start the day. It's a good way to end the day. Way better from going from sitting in a car to sitting in an office to sitting in a car again to coming home and sitting down again. Although technically I guess I am sitting down while riding the bike, but it's nice to get some blood flowing and some exercise in. Another positive / negative point is the effect on my training. So I also race fairly regularly here in Japan, mostly cyclocross season, but I do some criteriums as well. And I found that I can get some good base miles in during my commute, which is nice because it's just a natural part of my routine. I use this time to ride every single day, so I automatically get those base miles in, which is really nice. The disadvantage is, again, I'm tired to do actual real training rides. So it's kind of a bit of a trade-off there, but fortunately, there's some really good flat segments on my commute along the river path with no lights that I don't have to wait, so I can actually get some good interval training there. The only problem is it's mostly just flats, but there is some wind, so the wind training is a good alternative for doing the mountain training. And let's not kid ourselves, I'm not really a real mountain rider or anything like that. Got stuck with the giant group of the morning commute. So gotta be extra careful here. And let's cross over here. All right, here we go. We're on the first river path of the day. And the wind is just sort of crazy today. So I hope you guys can hear me. I'm using a lav mic, a separate lav mic. This is not the GoPro mic. If you're wondering how I got this audio, I'm using a separate mic.
Another negative point you need to consider is the wear on your equipment. So the wear on your bikes. A couple of people commented before saying there's no dogs on your commute. There's no dogs in Japan. And there you go. There's some evidence. But anyway, going back to the wear and maintenance on your bikes. So if you're commuting like 200K like I am, that's going to add up. So 800K every month, you're going to have to replace some parts every once in a while. So new tires, new chain rings, new chains, and chain lubricant. And all of those costs are going to add up. But even after you add up all of those costs, it's still going to be cheaper, or it should be cheaper than the cost of maintaining a car. It was really nice in the past when I didn't have to pay for any of that stuff, any car insurance, any gas. I was able to save up a lot of money my first few years here in Japan just by riding my bike everywhere. But fortunately, my new car that I got was a really cheap used common model that gets pretty decent mileage.
But unfortunately, now I'm caught in the car trap of having to pay insurance every month. But luckily, I bought a nice cheap used car, and most of the fixed costs are already out of the way. I just need to pay a small insurance fee every month. But if you're lucky and we're like how I was before and don't have a car and you commute by bike every single day, you can save a lot of money, get really healthy, and be really happy going to work and coming back from work.
So overall, it's been an interesting month, and I've got to say, I'm really happy with the new commute. It puts me in a great mood when I'm going to work, and I just feel really great knowing that I'm exercising, I'm getting my exercise in, I'm able to ride every single day, even on the bad days. Like yesterday, I mentioned it was raining all day yesterday, and this path kind of floods over, and it gets really nasty, so it's really not a fun ride to go there or to come back. But honestly, I don't really mind it anymore. It's just become part of my routine. Like, all right, we gotta do this. There's this great expression in Japanese called yaru shikanai, which means there's no option but to just do it.
If you guys are struggling with, you want to commute to work by bike, but you don't really have the discipline, or you can't bring yourself to do it, or you always come up with excuses like, oh man, it's too long, or it's too hot, or it's too wet if it's raining and stuff.
Man, you just gotta do it. Like, even if you don't do it every day, set a goal, like at least once a week you want to ride your bike to work. And once you set that goal, it's just that much easier to make that first step. And once you make that first step, it's a lot easier to move on to the next. So after you start doing it once a week, you can eventually work your way up to like 3 days a week. You don't need to put crazy pressure on yourself or anything. Just set realistic goals that you can accomplish. And it really helps if you have some sort of motivational factor, something to really push you. One of the things that really motivates me is money. So knowing that if I take the train or if I drive my car to work, I'm going to be spending at least 500 to 600 yen for the round trip. So if I ride my bike to work, that means I'm saving at least 500 yen a day. I'm saving easily at least an extra man or $100 a month just riding my bike to work, which is great. And if you combine that with the other incentives like the fitness incentive and the time saving incentive, it's just a no-brainer. That's why I ride my bike to work.
What else? Oh yeah, another question I got was, how do you deal with sweaty back and bike parking and all that stuff? So most of the backpacks that I use are pretty good about sweaty back. Like, some other options you can do is you can lower the backpack so it's not covering as big of a surface area on your back, or instead of or get an alternative to a backpack. You can get a pannier bag, you can get a waist bag, you can get a frame bag. Here we go, here's some of the puddles. There's a bunch of different alternative options instead of just using the backpack. I've mostly just been using the backpacks because my commuting time is early in the morning and later in the evening at around sunset, so it's really not been too hot yet. I haven't gotten much sweaty back problems, and I always have a change of clothes at work, so I'm fortunate we've got a locker there so I can store my clothes there. But even if I didn't have that locker, I'd be putting the extra spare clothes in my bag and just bringing it with me. And here, this section's gonna be a little nasty today. I also have a small little towel at work, so I just sort of wash myself off a little bit with a towel, rinse off my face in the sink, and have a stick of deodorant so I can make myself not too stinky. Again, it hasn't gotten too hot here yet, so it hasn't been much of a problem. That's one of the nice things about cycling in winter is it's cooler, so you don't have to worry so much about sweat and getting nasty, and you can use your cycling clothes for a couple days without it starting to stink or having to wash it like every single day. Oh, we got some nice mulberries right now. Unfortunately, one thing I'm not looking forward to, but again, I might use some of the solutions I mentioned: frame bags, pannier bags, waste bags. And I found I've been trying to keep my load light, especially on the days I do like my interval work. I do some interval training on the past some days, and sometimes after work, I do some sort of sprint and crit practice with some friends. So on those days, I try and keep my load pretty light. There's definitely a big difference between commuting with a giant big waterproof bag and a small lightweight bag. Both have their uses. If you're interested in some of the bags that I'm using, I made some review videos. Oh, there's the train. But yeah, if you're interested in some of the bags that I'm using, I made some review videos, so you can go check those out. That's most of what I wanted to talk about in today's video on my commute. And here we are, we're on the nice wider version of the river here, on the Yada River here in Japan, Nagoya, Japan.
And I'm actually going to go and do some interval work right now, so I think I'm going to end today's video here. I hope you guys like this new style of videos where I talk during my commute, and it's a great way for me to kill two birds with one stone because I have to do this commute every day, and there's lots of videos I want to make topics about, but I don't really have much time to talk. So if you guys like this kind of video, be sure to give this video a like, leave a comment down below with any topic that you'd like me to discuss during my commute, and I'll make sure I try some different alternative commute route so you guys can see some other parts of the city that I can share with you guys. And that's going to be it for today, guys. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time here on Two Wheel Cruise.